Yay!
Now what are we doing?
We're gonna go meet Antonio, our private tour guide.
Where's he at?
I have no idea, but Google Maps is showing me.
How much further?
We're here.
Oh, we're gonna meet him here?
Yes.
That's cool.
We gotta look for him.
That's a cool spot. What's his name again?
Antonio.
Antonio. Oh yeah. Did we even say what we're doing today?
We are going on a private tour through Lisbon. We're gonna spend 3 hours with our host, Antonio. He's gonna take us wherever we want to go, which basically means wherever he wants to take us, because I don't know Lisbon.
Yes.
So let's go find him.
How long are you going to stay?
We're here maybe. But we got you. We gotta give it all to it in 3 hours.
I'll do my best.
Yes, right? No pressure.
So the historical part of Lisbon, it's not big. As you can see from there, it starts all 20th century construction. So the city of Lisbon, until the beginning of the 20th century, it was basically from there to the river, which is two hills, that one, this one, and the flat part in the middle, the valley, we call Baixa, B-A-I-X-A, which means low, so downtown.
Okay.
So this is the historical part of Lisbon. It is much bigger than this, but it's pretty much all 20th century, with the exception of a few monuments and flying that are old. As construction older than 20th century is this. And the city started there. I'm telling you bits of history along the way, but here I can start with the beginning, because along the way I will have to do some chronological jumps, but at the end I will join the dots, okay? So that you can. So the city started in that hill in the 1st century before Christ, and it was created by the Romans. They call this Olisipo, O-L-I-S-S-I-P-O. That was the name. And it was just that hill with construction, and the downtown was used for horse racing, and kind of a playground for that. And there was no construction on this. The reason why they decided to build the city out of this place, it was a river, very deep, so ships could go. And also the hills, because you can see the enemies from a big distance, and it's easy to protect if you have people watching on top of the hills. You're ready. And so it depends on the book you read, but some say 3,000, other around 5,000 people during the Roman period that went until the 4th century after Christ. That hill was the city at that time. Along the way I will tell you more, but it's just us, so questions.
Take a listen.
Yeah, okay. But at any point, if you have any questions, go ahead.
Thank you.
As I told you to do this in an easy way, I need to do some chronological jumps, because if we're doing this historically, we might have to do ups and downs. So now we're heading to that neighborhood.
You're from here?
Not born here, but my parents are from Lisbon, and I came here with 6. I was born in Africa, in Angola.
Oh.
At the time it was still a Portuguese colony. I was born in 68 and M6 in 74 after the end of the Portuguese dictatorship. My parents returned, so I grew up here.
Okay.
Our money was not an issue. This was commissioned by the king to two Italian architects. It was built in Rome by a large team of Italian artists between 2 to 5 years. Here when it was transported in sections to Lisbon.
That's incredible.
Not just the money spent on this, also the money spent to bring this from Rome to Lisbon. So
That's incredible.
To give you an orientation, you see that white church over there? Yes. In front there's a square, it's a small square, and all the streets to the right, it's the nightlife area that you just saw a little bit with me. But if you continue to come down that street, you end up in that square. So just to let you know where you are. So we met on top. And going down, so to the left of the church, before or after, you're going down in the direction of the river. It's where it is the Pink Street, the other nightlife area that I told you about. That's why it's easy even for drunk people to do that. Start there and then go down.
Go downhill, it's a lot easier.
And also now a very trendy place called Time Out Market. It's there in front of the... It's a food court in an old market. So it's, without McDonald's, so it's good food, but working as a food court. This street, it's the central of Chiado, and it's very commercial and very crowded. The streets left and right are more quiet. And this, according to the Michelin book, it's the city where you have more concentration of Michelin star restaurants.
Wow.
Not the city with more Michelin star restaurants, but concentrated, because you have 4 just in the area of Chiado.
Oh, wow.
So in just, I would say, 300 meters, you have 4 Michelin star restaurants. The only one that's in the top 50 of the best restaurants in the world, Portuguese, it's here. It's called Belcan. So, I've never been there. It's 260 euros per person without the drinks. So if you choose an expensive wine, I would say the two of you might leave 1,000 there just to have a meal.
Wow.
Oh,
You like
if
good
I
food,
win
but maybe
the
not.
lottery, it's probably good. I'm not saying it's bad, but
If I win the lottery, I'll come back and take you to dinner. We'll all have a good time.
this is Chiado, and as I told you, most of these buildings, flats were bought, but they are empty.
That's sad.
It's just like that. But, well, a few, the Brazilians, they are actually moved here, but the ones from Saudi Arabia and Russia and China, no. This, another important thing of the city, this is the oldest bookstore in the world remaining. Not like it's written there because that might be right, that's shop. It's like the Guinness certificate says.
Oldest operating bookstore. There we go.
It's going to be 300 years in 9 years from now.
Oh my God.
It opened in 1732.
Okay.
You see the Guinness certificate? So in 2032, it will celebrate 300 years.
It smells good. I love bookstores.
The last room is a coffee area. And they work a little bit like drug dealers. So you can pick a book from a shelf, go there, order a coffee or a water, stay there hours, read the entire book and put it back on the shelf. They say if you become a reader, you'll return and buy something. So they want to get you to, they don't mind that you
Like
read
a
without
drug
pay.
dealer. Oh, I love that.
It's a good place also to offer some gifts for someone that loves books, because if you buy a book here, when you're paying, you ask them to put a stamp, and they have in several languages a stamp on the first white page saying this was bought at the oldest remaining bookstore in the world. So
Okay, that's really cool. I'm gonna tag this place.
I told this already several times to people doing these tours, and I know because they told me or send me messages that they return here because they have a daughter that loves books, or they want to offer to somebody that it's not just offering a book. You're offering a book with history because it was bought at the oldest place still remaining selling books.
Hola.
Hola.
I just wanted to tell you guys about a really cool experience that I had. Now, I couldn't video it, and that's actually a part of the experience. But check this out. We're on our private tour, my wife and I, and our tour guide, which you'll see in this video as well, is Antonio. And my wife points out that there's a metro, or she asks Antonio, and Antonio's like, yes, it's a subway. I'm like, cool, like I want to go check it out. I want to take some video, take some pictures of the trains. So I go in, I go down multiple steps. I chose to use the steps instead of the escalator because I'm in health and wellness, and so I try to take the steps when I can. Not always, but when I can. So I get down there, and I'm videoing. I got my pocket set up with my Rode, directional mic, has my windscreen on it. So I mean, it does look kind of crazy. But check this out. I turned it off because there was no train, so I'm like, okay, I'll sit here and wait for a train. So you can hear him coming. And one of the employees approaches me and says, well, first of all, he asked me if I speak English. I was wearing a red, white, and blue top, so it was pretty obvious that I was American. So he asked if I spoke English, and I said yes. And he said it's not allowed without permission from the subway due to security reasons, having anybody's face, within your video. And they don't know you, they don't know what your intentions are. I said, I understand, of course. Once again, you got people who don't do things right, messing it up for like law-abiding citizens, right? And because, he felt really bad about it. So then I asked if I could just, video a train. So we walk over to where there's more, employees inside of their pods. I call it a pod, I don't know what you would call it. Right by where people pay to go in. And so one of his colleagues comes out and says, he reiterates the same thing. No, you're not allowed. I said, okay, cool. But then he brought up, like with your phone, then it may be allowed because people have their phones and they do it all the time. So I said, cool. So, I put this rig that I'm videoing right now on the pocket. I said, okay, well, what if I use my phone? He said, okay, cool. So then I go up to the side to wait for one of the trains to come through so I can just video the train coming in and leaving. That's all I wanted to do. And then what I'm assuming is their superior, a very nice young lady, her name is Patricia, she comes out and she's like, no, actually you can't even use your phone. So it's like, okay. And then once again, she goes through this big old explanation as to why. And I'm trying to tell her, like, hey, you don't even have to explain. If it's against the rules, it's against the rules. It wasn't like I was pushing back at all. I was like, hey, if you say no, it's a no. Because, unlike Brittany Griner, I don't go to other countries and break their laws and then expect to get off scot-free, even though I'm guilty. So I actually believe in justice. So I'm like, no, this is your territory. This is your subway. You say no, it's no, and I'm not owed an explanation. But she was really, really nice. She said, would you like to go down and see? I was like, yeah. So check this out. This is how nice this young lady was. She felt really bad because she could tell that I'm not basically a scumbag, but she has to follow the rules to protect everybody. I said, I understand completely. So she takes me down. We go down on the blue line side. She tells me about how during rush hour it's crowded. I compliment her on the cleanliness. of the subway stations because, you know, I'm from the Bay Area, so I've ridden them there. And then I've also been to New York. I said, these are clean. These are clean. The cleanest I've been is Dubai, but these were like, they were really clean. Smelled great, really spacious platforms and all that. And so she took me over to the Green Line, gave me a little bit more of the, you know, the run of the day. And then she agreed to take a selfie with me. So here's me and Patricia. Now all the while, my wife is like blowing up my phone, like, where are you? Right, because I was in there for a long time. And I didn't want to text all of that I just told you. So I was like, you know, I'll be out soon, they're giving me a tour. Because all while this is happening, Antonio and my wife are waiting, thinking I'm just in there to take, you know, a picture and a couple videos, which should have taken like 5 minutes. This ended up taking 3 times as long, but it was worth it. Because I met some nice people, everybody that talked to me was really nice. And then I got a tour of the platform, which, you know, normally you'd have to pay to get in. So she was really nice and just a really cool experience. So it's one of those things, that's why I like traveling. So those experiences that you don't look for, you don't expect, but they're pleasant nonetheless.
See, those trees over there, that's our meeting point. That's the viewpoint. From there you were watching the castle there, you see?
Oh, yeah, right there.
And a little bit below, the tallest building is the church that we get inside.
Oh, okay.
And then below, the yellow building, it's where it ended the Portuguese dictatorship, the church without the roof, and the old elevator that you were on the viewpoint. So you see, you were in all those places.
That's crazy.
They said it's a pile. That's a replica of the Golden Gate Bridge. It was made by an American company, so they used the same model.
Oh, okay.
And that's also a replica of the Christ Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil.
Oh, it is too.
So both are made after and smaller than the original.
Okay.
The bridge and the Christ.
Is that the archway here with the statues on top? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And we are going to end close to that statue of the king down there.
Okay.
To that side of the river, you're going in the direction of the south of Portugal. So you have 200 miles and you reach Algarve, and then it's the Mediterranean Sea and Morocco on the other side. To that side, in less than 20 miles, you're in the Atlantic Ocean, in Cascais, and New Jersey on the other side. So Lisbon, it's at the same latitude as New Jersey.
Oh, it is. Okay.
So if you go straight ahead, from here, you end up in New Jersey.
We came from Miami.
So, and that is north, so the second biggest city of Portugal, Porto, is that way. And east is Spain, so if you go that way, in less than 200 miles, you are already in Spain. So Portugal is a narrow country.
Oh, okay. So really only like
it's
200 miles. Wow.
And it's our only neighbor, so we just got ocean in Spain.
It's not bad.
In the States, you've got to Canada and Mexico. And in Portugal, we just got one.
Australia, we got none. Island.
Yes.
Big island.
But, well, after centuries of clashing, now the two countries are pretty well together.
I bet, yeah.
Doing things together, investments, and everything. So.
Okay.
No, it's not possible.
It's not possible.
It's not possible.
I bet it is.
No, it's not. They won't allow it.
They won't.
Olá. They know me. Technically.
You gonna try one? You're gonna break his heart. Oh yeah. Ah. Is that cinnamon?
Yes, that's the proper way to have it.
That's the proper. Who knew? Yummy.
And this is what they sell in the streets as cocaine, but I assure you it's just powder sugar, so...
No snorting?
No.
No snorting. He's done this before.
And you have an advantage against me, which is you can get addicted to this because you're living, so your addiction
That's okay,
disappears.
yes.
I live here, so I cannot. I need to take care. So
Okay.
go ahead.
All right. Well, he's gonna break your heart. He doesn't eat sugar, so.
Oh.
But I do.
Bye.
You should have the other one. He won't have it. He won't have it. He doesn't have sugar. Sorry, I didn't realize you were getting two. All right. It's amazing. Okay. You have to eat this one.
Yeah, you gotta eat the second one.
You gotta eat it. Let's go. Let's go.
You've already prepped it.
You have another one in the boat.
Okay.
You like it?
It's amazing.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
Maybe I'll just move here just for these.
That's cool.
What's that, babe?
That's the manicured bushes with the twist.
So, you already saw this, but from there.
Oh my gosh, look at
From
this.
the ship. Now you're seeing from this. This is Alpha, which is the oldest neighborhood of Lisbon.
Okay.
And not just with the tiniest buildings, but also the tiniest.
Está por detrás de la casa amarilla, donde está la grúa retornada sobre la oriente.
It's like they do in Morocco and in the north of Africa.
Okay.
Tiny streets so that you can endure the summer days. And here now it's very touristic. During the day people have to explore this. And at night it's where most of the fado live music it's played in a lot of restaurants down there. So a lot of people come here to hear fado live. Muslims visiting Lisbon, they like to go there, and they consider this to be a sacred place because they know that for 400 years this was a mosque, so it's still a sacred place for them. And then when it was the city conquered by the Portuguese king, was Catholic, they made some made some construction, and it stayed like this. Not, I would say, a typical facade of the church, but it was to take advantage of what already existed, but demolish things that were more Moorish in a sense.
Yeah. So the stained glass is very Notre Dame.
Since the 12th, between the 8th and the 12th, Muslim. I told you twice how it's narrow. Now I give you a good example. From that yellow building to this yellow building.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's this large, the downtown. All these two buildings. This is King Don José II. He was the king at the time of the earthquake. And of course, after they rebuilt all this, he wanted the statue of him.
Well, yeah.
And I don't know in the States, but at least in Europe, every time you see an important king or general on a horse, it means one thing: they were very short.
Short man
So,
syndrome.
Like Napoleon
Yes.
and this guy. So every time there's a horse involved, it means that they didn't want to stand up because they were short.
Makes sense.
This is one of them. Another thing that I can tell you, most of the Portuguese and European monarchy, they were crazy. They were completely crazy because they married between themselves.
Yeah,
They wanted to
inbred.
they wanted to keep the power just in the same families, so they married even if you read, when I was a kid, I read the Portuguese king married the princess of Spain. They were direct cousins. Even if they were from different kingdoms, they were direct cousins. And it's not just the Portuguese and the Spanish, the British, the Australians. They were always inbreeding. So same gene pool. So
All
basically,
across Europe.
all across Europe. That's why. Well, I like to read history, and of course this happened. We can't erase it. But I'm glad that it's a republic, in a sense, you know, because it stopped. Yes, and you see in England, it's well, it's changing. They are marrying some not
Commoners,
yes, not the same families. No, obrigado. So, but in history, there's a lot of cases like this. One of the reasons, another is that they lived in a bubble. They lived outside of reality. They were created in palaces. They did just hunting and, you know, so drink tea.
That's all they did.
You know, do things that not the common people. Right? They had a different life. So.
Really good. It's an amazing day. So much fun.
What's your favorite part?
The history. Learning from Antonio.
Taking notes.
I did take notes so I could look back.
You want to book on that?
Actually, let's be real. No, my favorite part was the tart. Custard tart. Yep.
That's right, we want to go everywhere.